Welcome to a new Energy Crew podcast. It has been a minute, everyone. My name is JP Warren, and welcome to Energy Crew. And I took a hiatus from recording these, and I don't know why. I think life gets busy, life gets in the way. A lot of different projects kind of start presenting themselves, and unfortunately, the energy and effort towards Energy Crew kind of took a back seat. However, I've missed talking about energy. I miss talking about what's happening in the conversations I'm having with people in energy space. I miss bringing to light what conversations that I'm having with different people in the oil and gas space. And I think a good way to kind of continue these conversations is obviously bring it back. You're here now, so I appreciate that. But another layer that we're going to do now is we're going to try to bring in what we've been discussing at our Crew Club operator mastermind roundtables. And for those of you that aren't familiar, this Crew Club is actually Energy Crew is brought to you by Crew Club now. For those of you that aren't familiar with Crew Club is an exclusive networking event where we host different E&P operators and a couple service companies at the table. We keep the service companies limited just to ensure the operators are there. And from there, we dive into conversations that are driving the industry forward. Anything from energy policy, AI, operational challenges and solutions. I already said energy policy, AI and technology to leadership topics. So in 2024 alone, we had 28 events. We hosted 270 E&P operators from over 160 E&P companies. 50% of that manager or above, and that's manager in drilling, completion, and production. So the best way to start off this 2025 Energy Crew podcast is to dive in with what we discovered, and discussed at our first Crew Club operator mastermind roundtable. And this is just to give everyone out there kind of some insight on some high level stuff that we're discussing around the table and how it's actually shaping and driving the industry forward. There's a lot of information, so I have a lot of notes here to read from and just go off of just in case I kind of get lost in the mix. But again, I want to thank everyone out there for tuning in. And just to say what we did for our first Crew Club event, so this week I'm actually be headed to Midland. And then Oklahoma City. Midland on Tuesday, Oklahoma City on Thursday. In Midland, we have Drew Limbacher, the CEO of Cedar Creek Energy Partners, talking about pretty much how to scale your business as a private operator in today's market. It's different than previous years. Not only that, is the Permian Basin something that people still should be focused on as a private operator. And then in Oklahoma City, Jeremy Entz, the VP of Operations Engineering at Ascent Resources, talking about extreme long laterals. How far should and could we go? So that's going to be a great conversation. But we kicked it off last week in Houston, where we had Sheon Harris, the senior technical advisor at Chevron, lead a fantastic conversation where kind of things around the table started getting real and vulnerable towards the end of the evening. And it was a great conversation. And this was a leadership focused discussion. So if you're interested about leadership and how to actually leadership skills for career development, personal development in the oil and gas industry, energy industry, this is the place for you. But before we got kicked off, and let me thank the sponsors who are around the table. Again, this was last last week in Houston, and around the table we had WorkRise, WellDrive, Cool Edge Bits, and AI Sales join us at the table to sponsor this event. So I want to thank them. Without them, this wouldn't be possible. So let's kicked off on what happened this evening, what we talked about around the table. Of course, it's not an oil and gas conversation without everyone breaking out their cloudy crystal balls and talking about what's happening in 2025. So we had a little brief discussion on predictions and expectations for what's happening in the energy industry in 2025. And so here's some takeaways that we discussed. And then we're going to get into kind of another topic we discussed, which is AI and how that's going to be impacting the industry. But then we got into what's going to be happening in the service companies, what's going to be happening on the OFS side. And after that, that's when we dove into our facing obstacles, reframing obstacles, and actually how to use that for career development. So starting off, again, we're going to go through 2025 predictions. We're going to talk about AI in the industry, where it's at now. We're going to get into OFS, what challenges they have, and then finally the meat and potatoes of this conversation, how to reframe obstacles. So again, let's dive in. So number one, 2025. What's going to happen in this industry? First off, 2024 saw a dramatic, aggressive year when it came to consolidation. There was a lot of record consolidations, a lot of old school historic names that got wrapped up that are no longer anymore, which leaves pretty much, was it when consolidation was the saying, one plus what, two plus two equals three when it comes to consolidation. So when it comes to whether it's drilling rigs out there, whether it's work awarded by the service companies, or whether you're an operator, an engineer who at one of these companies, it's definitely created a certain sense of instability and a lot of anxiety out there, actually. So let's talk about the landscape that's changing in 2025 and what people are seeing. So, number one, data and technology integration. There's an expectation that companies will develop algorithms and combinations with AI to enhance decision-making processes. Now, when it comes to actually approaching projects or obstacles or creating tasks and all that stuff, AI is good for that. But AI seems to be around the table in this day and age really good at speeding up decisions, finding those points, I guess, in the data that are flagged, and a better decision is to be made. So I think a lot of companies right now are relying on AI for decision making solely currently. And you're seeing a different approach when it comes to AI from some of the larger operators, how they're incorporating it with their own systems or their own limitations to their systems, and also to smaller operators. They're more nimble, they can move more, but are they relying on AI as much as they should? So we're definitely going to see two types of companies, I feel like, in 2025: those that are being more efficient, incorporating AI and utilizing AI more, and those are just kind of playing with it a little bit to get emails out and chat GPT and all that stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see where AI actually starts kind of bleeding into everyday operations and everyday decisions with these teams. All right, market volatility is another hot topic people are talking about. Okay, even though there's a new administration, all that stuff, there is still a lot of market volatility, and that is rapidly changing pricing. We've seen prices flooding to where they're at today, but anywhere from 68 to 80 kind of. But again, that's picking up, that's going down really rapid, really fast. You're seeing the gas market pick up too, which is exciting. But what's going to happen when it comes to capital discipline whenever the Haynesville does pick up? We're going to find out. Is the oil and gas going to historically have that short-term mindset where we forget historically on ramping up and what we do to prices, or is it going to be more disciplined in approaching these gas fields? All right. So what else we're talking about? Shifting business dynamics. All right. A lot of people at the table discuss there's a concern about the competitiveness of doing business in the United States. A lot of service companies, it's very difficult to do business inside the United States. Prices are constantly beat down, extra competition. And if you're out there on the directional drilling, mud, drill bit side, all that side, you know that there's competition out there. So is there real opportunity in the United States? We'll see. There's a lot of talk about longer term contracts, higher revenue generating projects in the international market. So how do we have the U.S. service side thrive? Well, we'll find out. All right. I don't think there's an answer to that, but hopefully we'll find that out soon. All right. So there's also conversation about reservoir depletion. How productive is the Permian? So reservoir depletion rates in the U.S. compared to OPEC nations could impact investment attractiveness. And we're also seeing investments come from not only historic private equity companies, which is fine, which historically we didn't see that in the past 18 months. We saw a huge, I guess, lull when it comes to industry investments. You're starting to see that a little bit more and more now, which is interesting. But we're also kind of curious on where else is it going to come from? Where else is capital going to come and flow into the market? So we're going to see what happens with that. I'm excited. 2025, listen, 2025 is going to be another interesting year in the oil and gas industry. But I think it's really going to be, if you position yourself, if you look for opportunities, and you're strategic and intentional about who you're conversing with, what decisions, what data you're looking at, and what technology you're kind of consuming, I think that's really going to separate you from everyone else. All right. What else? We all talked about dependence on forecasts. All right. The industry's ability to properly plan forecasts will increasingly rely on accurate forecasting related to customer demand. All right. So companies express an ongoing need for open communication to adjust their business strategies based on customer activities. So this is something that I think, again, talking about Crue Club and where this is at. I'm very passionate about Crue Club because the conversations you get from the service side and the operator side, the walls are down, the platforms, the pedestals are taken away, so conversations are had. So again, it's going to be very interesting to see where forecasts are created. Is it guesswork or is it going to be more factual? I think the companies around the table are probably going to walk away with more of a sharpened blade to carve out their strategy versus just kind of guessing. All right. We also talked about energy transition renewables in 2025. There may be an increased emphasis on integrating renewable energy sources within the grids, all right, which in the grid, which could affect energy distribution and market dynamics. So, what is the increasing reliability of unreliable? I'm not saying I'm not knocking it. I think we need all energy. I love all energy, but when it comes to actually implementing an unreliable energy source into the mix, I think that causes for a lot of headaches, a lot of pressure, a lot of pain points for a lot of consumers out there. So we're definitely going to see some conversations happen around the energy transition, which I call the energy addition and renewables. All right. So one person said a great quote in this. They said, "We won't have the same jobs in 3 or 4 years." All right. So think about that. How will your job change, whether it's through market dynamics, whether it's through consolidation, whether it's through capital investment, whether it's you taking risk and stepping out on your own to pursue what you want to do. So we're going to see what kind of changes happen in this industry and how these job roles will change. I think that you're going to see a lot of the administrative stuff when it comes to permitting, when it comes to, I guess, maybe logistics, getting things to location. I'm kind of curious on seeing how that's going to change with AI and technology. All right. Speaking of AI, we talked about, so remember, that's 2025 predictions. All right, now 2020, now we're talking about AI and artificial intelligence. And we kind of glossed over this a little bit and it kind of flesh this out a little bit more if we move on to the OFS side. So we discussed around the table, we discussed kind of before we kicked it off, we discussed the AI's role as an essential driver of innovation in this industry. And I'm kind of curious if it's innovation again or speed of making decisions. I think again, right now we're at the forefront of AI, and companies are using it to whether not only to go through data and to form decisions, but also I think it's going to be a lot quicker decisions. All right, I'm kind of curious on when the breaking point is like, hey, listen, engineer, you made this decision. However, the AI model was saying you should make this decision, and I'm kind of curious on seeing where the responsibility is going to be held. Is your job going to be dependent on making an AI decision or a decision based on experience? So that's going to be kind of interesting to see. All right. AI technologies can enhance efficiency, reduce costs, and improve decision making. Talked about that. There's concerns and opportunities in both. All right. Well, while AI introduces challenges, including fears about job displacement, that's constantly ongoing, that and automation. It also opens up avenue for those who embrace this technology change. All right. Investing in your skills and learning these AI tools can definitely help you in your career. All right. Expert insight encourage listeners, that's you out there, to consider practical applications in AI in your work. How can you be more efficient? How can you be more quick? How can you be more concise utilizing AI tools that are out there? All right. Now let's get into the oil fields. Again, this is the last section we're going to get into before we dive into the obstacles and how it affects your career growth and career guidance. All right. All right. So service companies now. So service companies is an interesting place right now in 2025. Prices have been beaten up below the floor. All right. I think there's a lot of companies out there that are just kind of maybe practicing and doing the same things to get, whether it's market share, whether it's getting in front of customers. And again, I think 2025 is a different market, a different environment. So OFS is going to be interesting to see. I asked the question, is going to be more consolidation or potentially doors closed? A lot of feedback was, if you're an OFS company with technology, with good, obviously good books, with technology that's can be invested with, you'll probably get acquired. However, if you're an OFS company without investing in technology or anything like that, with dumb iron, the chances are, things are tough right now, it might be door closing. So, hey, hopefully not. Hopefully everyone can thrive in this industry. But I think it's going to be real it's going to be real settling of when it comes to price and service and what actually has to offer. All right. There's investment gaps. We pointed out that the decrease in capital investment OFS sector it has implications for research, development, and operational improvements, and also new technology. We talked about this. Whenever in our industry, in the oil and gas industry, technology is usually spurned from operator support of OFS companies. However, through the past 18 months, investment in the industry has dropped. People are being more conservative with trying out new things because, again, times are tough. People don't want to stick their neck up. They want to operate below their AFE. Cash is king. Cash discipline is king. So I'm very curious to see where the technology is going to come from. I think there's going to have to be a lot more partnerships from the beginning for technology to continue to thrive. Again, technology we're talking about whether it's rig count. All right, so we're not expecting rig count to increase that much either. That was another conversation around the table. Based through technology and efficiencies, you're not seeing rig count going to be going up or swinging that much. I think people are now, unless it's the gas field play. So again, it's going to be very interesting to see OFS companies release new technology because, again, it takes two to tango. And again, the technology is for the operators. So operators probably should be having these conversations with the service companies before they even bring a product to the market. Hey, this is what we want. Let's talk about this. Let's come up with a solution. That way we're not burning, hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars creating this technology that may not, which may be something that we don't want. So let's all work together from the beginning. All right. Adaptation to change on the service side. A call to action was made for OFS companies to innovate and overcome these hurdles. All right, how we got to think innovative outside the box, maybe at other industries as well. So creating platforms for knowledge exchange and resource pooling within sectors can foster resilience and inspire new solutions and ideas. Okay, now we talked about that for the first probably about 45 minutes of the Operator Mastermind Roundtable. Then Shun kicked it off. And he kicked it off with a great quote from Marcus Aurelius Meditations. All right, this is the basis of this and for your career development. All right, the mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our own acting. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. All right, let me read that again. The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our own acting. The impediment to action advances action. And what stands in the way becomes the way. So again, this is all about obstacles, reframing obstacles for your career growth. So how do we look at obstacles individuals, whether it's personal, whether it's professional, and face them for career advancements, for personal growth? And that was a great conversation starter on how we all look at obstacles. And the first point that we brought up was that it's very important to have self-reflection when you're dealing with obstacles along the way. Self-reflection, whether that's journaling, whether that's assessing why an obstacle may hinder you from taking action to kind of face it. A lot of times whenever obstacles pop up, either we throw in the towel, or we walk away from certain obstacles. So maybe doing a little self-reflection on maybe finding out what is behind the anxiety, what's behind the lack of action whenever we are facing obstacles. All right. This helps you understand yourself as a professional and as a person for areas of improvement, and how you can position yourself for better opportunities whenever obstacles do pop up. And if you can predict an obstacle, and wouldn't that be a cool thing to predict an obstacle? That way you already know the steps to get around it or to face it. Okay. Also, it's important to stay informed. Being aware of kind of the market dynamics, what's shifting in the industry, whether it's industry plays, acreage spots, basins, technology. Understanding what's happening. I apologize. Technical difficulties. Understanding what this is so ridiculous. Forgive me. Apologies. I'm just trying to get all my notes right now. Let me get down there. I hate doing this. Now I feel all flustered again, but it's part of, hey, listen, it's part of ripping the Band-Aid off, getting back out there again. Of course, we're going to experience technical difficulties. All right. So again, when you're looking at the market, how can you predict some obstacles with your team? Is going to be a shortage on equipment, location, personnel, people. If you can better understand what's happening in the market dynamics, you can better predict on how to navigate these obstacles that pop up. All right. One quote that was brought up was leveraging conversations and sharing insights to enhance personal growth, to foster a sense of community and cooperation, navigating challenges. So again, what does that mean? That means surrounding yourself with knowledgeable people. That means having conversations. That means talking about the obstacle. What are you doing about this obstacle that's in your path? And again, being vulnerable, I think, is a huge, huge area of an opportunity for a lot of professionals out there. All right. So what else? Yes. Okay. So talking about obstacles, we talked about, okay, so in this industry, there's a lot of obstacles, especially in our career development. All right, getting out there, meeting people, consolidation happens. So what do we have to do? So number one, look at networking like a tool. Surrounding yourself with knowledgeable people that actually understand obstacles, have been in leadership positions before, that want to and willing to help you navigate through these obstacles is extremely important. So building a robust network is important. Okay, and having these discussions. All right. So, how can you, as a professional, all right, approach obstacles with a different mindset, which is kind of what we all talked about. And again, it was kind of very cool conversation because we're all sitting around talking. We're all talking about obstacles that we're all facing and challenges that we're all faced with, personal, professional lives. And next thing you know, we start getting vulnerable. We start sharing what we're faced with, how we're approaching it. And it was great to hear the entire table kind of lean into each other and to kind of not just create some common groundwork between us, but also kind of emphasize like, hey, listen, you're not alone. Let's be blessed with kind of what we're looking at right now with mindset of gratitude, and let's approach the obstacles in more of an optimistic, inspirational way versus being hesitant and anxious towards it. So here's 4 ways you as a listener, whenever new obstacles pop up in your path, how to navigate and actually how to thrive whenever obstacles pop up. So number one, shift your perspective. All right. Whenever obstacles come up, whether it's change, whether it's someone not liking your product or project or anything like that, sometimes we freeze and we kind of take a lack of action. We think doom and gloom. Okay. So it's extremely important for you as an individual. And this is the thing, we can control 2 things. We can control our actions and we can control our thoughts. Okay. So, you as an individual, it's important to you to control your thoughts behind this obstacle. How can you look at this obstacle instead of something that demotivates you or something that kind of puts you down or something that you don't want to pursue anymore because the obstacle just seems too tough? How do we look at that and kind of look at that as an area of opportunity? Where can I grow from this? What avenues can I learn from facing this obstacle? So, again, understand that obstacles may appear larger in your mind than they are, can actually help you reframe them and kind of not make a mountain out of a molehill. All right. Again, the second thing you can do, again, a lot of people don't take action based on fear. I understand that. I'm guilty of that as well. Even doing this Energy Crew podcast just now, I was procrastinating. I was doing 15 other things because I did not want to take action. So the second thing is take action. I don't care if you doubt yourself. I don't care if you're afraid of this obstacle is going to ruin this, ruin that. The lack of action is more detrimental to you than not taking action. Wait, the lack of action to you is more detrimental than taking any, if you take any action whatsoever. Just go with me here. All right. So pretty much take some action. Take some action throughout anything, whether it's a new project, whether it's an obstacle, whether anything. I think people taking action is probably one of the most important things we can do to progress our career and as individuals grow and learn more. All right. And actually take chances on yourself. I mean, how boring is it to have all these ideas and wants in your head without even taking the smallest action to see if they'd flesh out? So again, take action despite your own personal doubts. All right. The third thing you can do whenever obstacles pop up, seek support, whether that's mentorship, whether that's teamwork, teammates, whether that's people, colleagues that are different organizations but have the same roles. Maybe you're facing the same things. So again, sharing your struggles with others around you. I've talked about the power of being vulnerable as a professional, especially in this hyper connected, disconnected world we live in. So again, find your support group, talk about obstacles, reframe it, take action. And the last thing you can do is learn from your own failures. Okay, we all fail. I don't even like the term tied to it. It's not even a failure. You're trying something out, okay? And from trying that out, you're going to learn what works and what doesn't work, okay? So learning from your failures and reflecting on your failures, and then again, don't even call them failures. Don't even like calling them failures, but reflecting back on the obstacle, what was in front of you, how you changed it, how you approached it, and what were the results. And not only that, what next obstacle that pops up, how will you do better? And honestly, I'm going to say out there, it's important also to celebrate your success. So celebrate you approaching your obstacle head on, because again, that's going to give you more confidence the next obstacle that pops up in your way. Okay. All right. Again, I think, yeah. So again, that's it for this week's Crew Club update on what we discussed at our Crew Club roundtable. If you're interested about learning more, join the table, head over to connectioncrew.com. connectcrue.com. That's ConnectCrue.com, like Motley Crue. But again, I want to thank everyone out there. And just kind of my thoughts is 2025 is definitely a wild year. I think there's going to be a lot of stuff when it comes to consolidation. There's a lot of companies already announcing layoffs. So it's very important to you to number one, continue building your leadership skill sets. It's important for you to continue to build out your networks. And it's important you to, I guess now it's important you to lean into on some AI and technology and understand that a little bit more. And it's also important to be vulnerable and to face your doubts, face those things that are laid in front of you that you're kind of hesitant of, that maybe you'll get to tomorrow or something like that. So again, face your obstacles. I want to thank everyone for being at the table. I want to thank everyone out there for listening. Hope you found value out of this. And if you did, please feel free to share it. I look forward to seeing you on the next Energy Crue podcast. I don't know if we're going to have a guest. I don't know if we're going to be covering another roundtable discussion. Again, we have 2 coming up this week, so pretty excited about that. So again, thank you all, and we'll see you soon.